古くからある伝承そのものとポケモンとの間に強い絆があるならば、それは大いなる力となって現れる。それがメガ進化。
Okay, freaks, Pokemon Legends ZA drops in like, well, 3 days from when this video comes out, I hope. And a low-hanging fruit of a video idea I have somehow yet to make is ranking the Mega Pokemon. Are there Mega Pokemon being released in less than a week? Yes, but there's no shot I'm ranking all of these Mega Pokemon along with whatever comes out in Kalos 2 Mega Boogaloo. I got things to do, like figure out how the Dark Souls of Pokemon is going to play like. So today, we're ranking the Mega Pokemon based on how strong they are in the official competitive Pokemon format of VGC. Could I rank them based off of singles viability? Yeah, but I'm not really the kind of guy to go to for that info. These guys are going to be placed into tiers. See the following chart to know what each tier basically means. They're not ordered within their own tiers because I'm not fighting with you guys in the comments, and if you have any complaints about where I placed your favorite, be sure to leave it in the comment section below. I promise someone will read it. It's just probably not going to be me. Leave a like, subscribe, check out the Patreon, type the video, begin. Okay, I lied. This video does have some Pokemon ordered within the tiers. It's sort of like a rank sandwich, because I'm going to start off with the worst Mega Pokemon in the game, and then we'll wrap up with what I believe is objectively the best at the top of the rankings. All the tiers in between might have mons in whatever order. It's kind of like a chopped cheese. The buns have to be in the right place, but everything else can go wherever. Speaking of buns, I'm not really sure where to start with Audino. It's Audino. Gen 5 aimed to make modern counterparts to lots of Gen 1 Pokemon, and even after being given access to a Mega form, Audino simply can't outperform Chansey with a rock. A defensive Mega isn't something that's inherently bad, there's plenty of Megas that can make it work, but the difference between those Megas and Mega Audino is that those Megas are either stupidly bulky to the point of absurdity, or they balance out that defensive nature with solid offensive stats. But Mega Audino just manages to allocate its new stats in such a way that it becomes a pretty mediocre defensive fairy normal type that doesn't have access to healing items like leftovers or berries. And the cherry on top of all this is that Mega Audino simply doesn't have an ability. I mean, it does have an ability. The ability's Healer, which heals a partner Pokemon status at the end of each turn, but keeping partners free of status isn't worth a Mega slot, especially when you could just play a better Pokemon like Tapu Fini on the team. That thing is just as bulky and has a better type, better offenses, and prevents statuses from happening in the first place. All without using your Mega slot. It can even hold leftovers. Mega Audino simply doesn't have the sauce to cut it in a competitive format. This is objectively the weakest Mega on the list, but that's not going to stop some of you from fighting me on it. Do your worst. I have too much Reddit karma for you to hurt me. Look, when you're trying to buff like the 9th Pokemon ever made, it's bound to still have a little bit of power creep holding it back despite your best efforts. But Mega Pidgeot still manages to remain pretty undercooked. Base Pidgeot didn't have much going for it in the first place, with it having unremarkable stats and practically no ability to speak of, along with the most mediocre typing in the game with it being a normal flying type, so it should be a slam dunk. Just fix at least one of these issues and people will have a reason to run Mega Pidgeot. There's no way they fumble this. And fumble it they did not, because Mega Pidgeot has unremarkable stats, practically no ability to speak of, along with being one of the most mediocre typings in the game with it being a normal flying type. Literally, how did they manage to do this? You got 100 points to play with here, and you could give it literally any ability you want to, yet it still manages to be nearly identical to another flying type in Tornadus Therian stat-wise. Only Tornadus Therian has access to solid physical moves like Knockoff and Superpower, and it actually has an ability without taking up a Mega slot, which is huge, because without that Mega Stone, Tornadus can rock some Tims, and it doesn't even really know what Stealth Rock is. I know what you're gonna say, but Mr. Boosted, Mega Pidgeot does have an ability. It's got no guard. Well, let me ask you something, Gavin. What exactly is Mega Pidgeot using no guard with? Hurricane? A move that can't miss as long as rain is up, and even without rain, still has a 70% chance to land? Is that a great chance to land? No, but it does mean that Mega Pidgeot only has an ability like 30% of the time. Hey, if we're being kind of particular here, Pelipper kind of also has no guard Hurricane, except it comes with rain, so, you know. And even then, this thing isn't really free of downsides. Moves literally can't miss Pidgeot now, so no dodging Sleep Powder, no dodging Rock Slide, and worst of all, any OHKO move will just always knock you out, which is frankly hilarious. This channel is partnered with GamerSupps. If you want to support my work and get great tasting drinks, you can order GamerSupps through my link in the description down below or with code Moxie boosted at checkout for 10% off. GamerSupps is a caffeinated product that I recommend only to my 18+ viewers, but my link will send you to their caffeine-free product section just in case. Every product purchased through my link supports my channel financially, so I'd really appreciate the support. Now back to the video. This one kind of hurts. Like, why would you give the hardest mega design of all time to a Pokemon that's the equivalent of Flat Stanley holding a Claymore? Yeah, nice 165 attack stat. How are you gonna use it, buddy? That Shadow Sneak isn't hurting anyone. No, this Pokemon frankly confuses me because Bayonet was arguably the Gen 3 Pokemon that needed a mega the most, and it just simply didn't live up to what it needed to be. Prankster is a great ability, but all things considered, giving Prankster to a powerful physical attacker is sort of a wasted slot. The only things Bayonet can do with Prankster better than other Pokemon is Priority Burns with Will-O-Wisp and Prankster Destiny Bond, which, funnily enough, got nerfed the very next generation. As of Generation 7, you can no longer use Destiny Bond successively, and it now fails the same way that Protect does. Beyond all these issues regarding bulk and move learn sets, the biggest issue with Bayonet is that a single Intimidate makes it arguably a worse choice of a Prankster Ghost type than base Sableye, cause at least Sableye gets the Dark typing. No Prankster taunting that guy. Maybe Poltergeist will help it out in Champions. There's just literally nothing else to say about Bayonet past this, and thank God, cause I've got over 40 Mega Pokemon left to cover. How long is this video gonna be? I can say with full confidence that Mega Glalie is the second best Ice-type Mega Pokemon in the game. Glalie already wasn't working with much here. Base Glalie is statistically identical to Fione. The main issue with Mega Glalie is that they tried to keep it as a mixed attacker, which doesn't quite work when you're building off of something with 80s across the board. It works fine with things like Mega Salamence because Mega Mence was already a stat monster. It's not lacking speed, bulk, or offenses. Meanwhile, Mega Glalie is lacking all these. Staying with the Mega Salamence comparisons here, they also gave it one of the normal type changing abilities. Only Mega Glalie gets Refrigerate instead, which changes all of its normal type moves to ice moves and gives them a 30% boost in power. Wait, I'm hearing from my sources that this ability was nerfed. It's now only a 20% boost in power, and it doesn't even get Hyper Voice. When your best set is the one that just makes you blow yourself up, it's pretty apparent that the team doesn't really value its Mega. Look man, I don't care what kind of conditioner you use, it's not helping you accomplish anything in a match. Ampharos was already a Pokemon that was kind of a nothing burger competitively. Mega Ampharos is closer to a nothing royale with cheese. Stat-wise, they kind of cooked here by giving Ampharos great bulk across the board and even a huge 165 base special attack stat. Huh, they really like that number, don't they? Issue is that it practically doesn't have an ability, and for some reason they made it part Dragon type. Yeah, defensively, that's pretty cool, and it makes Dragon Pulse a pretty good move to run on it, but that's not really doing enough to make people want to run it over literally any other Mega. That being said, it is the second best electric type Mega. It does have the ability Mold Breaker, which lets it ignore Lightning Rod, Volt Absorb, and literally any other ability, but there's hardly any reason why Ampharos would even want to use that. Like, other Mold Breaker Pokemon have specific applications. Excadrill can set up rocks on Magic Bounce Mons, and even Earthquake Levitate Pokemon.
How the hell does that even work?
Ampharos just, like, gets to hit Mimikyu early. I don't know. It's basically got no achievements to its name in VGC, and Raging Bolt is basically just Mega Ampharos at this point. And Miraidon is basically Mega Ampharos at this point. And Zekrom is basically... Nah, I'm kidding. Zekrom's still really bad. Entering D tier, at this point, I'm realizing just how much work this video is going to be and how little time I have. Forgive me if I don't remember to mention that time a Mega Pokemon got 14th place at, I don't know, Secaucus Regionals. You'd think that Mega Altaria would have an easy time finding viability, as it's the only Dragon Fairy type to exist even today, but the fact of the matter is that they made another Mega Glalie situation here, albeit one that doesn't actually hit quite as hard, which is quite the achievement for a Mega Pokemon. It is quite bulky though, and unlike Mega Glalie, actually has more than one moveset it can run. Notably, it can run setup Dragon Dance with Return or Tailwind Hyper Voice spam. Mega Altaria also getting Pixelate to turn its normal type moves into fairy moves means that it actually has some of the most consistent fairy type attacks in the game, as a player up would definitely miss when you need Altaria to lock in. It even has access to Earthquake on physical sets and Flamethrower on special sets to deal with pesky steel types that would otherwise wall out both of its main stab moves. Its main downside is just how low that speed stat is. With 80 being barely passable in Gen 7 and 6, it's even less usable today as of Gen 9. I mean, Flutter Mane literally just exists, bro. It's just gonna outspeed and nuke this thing. Okay, how many mixed attackers does Hoenn need? I know base Sharpedo had a pretty mixed attack stat spread with 120 attack and 95 special attack. Purely based off the moves it learns, it was a better special attacker, because it could threaten to one-shot Pokemon like Landorus Therian with Hydro Pump or Ice Beam after a single speed boost, but upon Mega Evolving, Speed Boost turns into Strong Jaw, so why are we giving it all that special attack when I'd rather have it be invested into my Strong Jaw Crunch stat? After Strong Jaw, Crunch is basically just Dark-type close combat. That's a strong move. Psychic Fangs hits hard, Ice Fang is passable, and if there was a move called like Wet Bite, Sharpedo would be absolutely broken, but until then, I guess Liquidation's fine. Hold on, my sources are telling me that there's literally a move that does this, but I don't think we should give it to Sharpedo. 140 is a strong physical attack stat, don't get me wrong, but just a little more investment in that would have let Sharpedo start to threaten one-shots in a lot of Pokemon. Yeah, it's got 105 speed and even speed boost before clicking the Mega button, but it's just not strong enough to roll with the big dogs, or even the mid dogs. This is like a regular dog, it's like the epitome of a D tier Pokemon. Pretty solid in singles though. I'm not entirely sure what they were going for with Mega Steelix, but I kinda get it, kinda. As a ground steel type, boosting its offenses slightly and making it actually have solid special bulk is a good idea, but why Sand Force as the ability? Why double down on trying to make this thing hit hard? And why only let it hit hard when there's sand on the field? Now you need to run a Pokemon with Sandstream, and that thing's likely weak to the same things as Mega Steelix. A single Surf is just gonna wipe your board. The whole squad is weak to rain teams. And you're probably not running Excadrill alongside this guy as a better sand abuser. 230 defense isn't half bad, in fact it's pretty high. The only thing is that this guy was already rocking 200 defense before the Mega. You're telling me that this thing could have had 155 base attack and they just invested it in the stat that didn't need the boost? Okay, D tier. It's got like 2 finishes to its name and one of them is on a Sun team for some reason. VGC back then was like the Wild West. Also, Body Press didn't exist yet. I straight up forgot what Bro stats looked like. I looked at this and I was completely confused. I did not know Mega Slowbro was built like this. What do you mean he wasn't good? I mean, I kinda get it. Defensive Megas aren't all that in VGC, especially when you consider the fact that there's only 4 Pokemon you gotta knock out each game. Like, it's just inherently a smarter decision to go with something that hits hard. But 130 base special attack isn't bad, and the fact that this thing comes with really solid bulk all around means that it can tank a hit too. That being said, Shell Armor would have been a lot better in Generation 8 and later on, since at that point you'll finally have to deal with the Urshifus. Good stats, good typing, good moves. It was just in the wrong era, and this is the wrong format, frankly. We'll see how good Slowbro is in Champions. Real talk, a Mega Abomasnow would be kind of fire today. I mean, with the snow rework and everything, it's clear as day that this guy could be a beast. Unfortunately, this dude existed in a metagame with Hail. No defense boost, no Aurora Veil, no usage. Grass Ice is definitely not a typing I would wish on any Pokemon, and base Abomasnow does see usage despite that, but that's only because of modern snow mechanics, along with it being able to run the Focus Sash as an item so it could actually eat a hit. Mega Abomasnow, on the other hand, drops to Ember. It's got just a few finishes under its belt, with basically all of them being hard Trick Room teams. And with the way that people dedicate themselves to that archetype today, well, we definitely have some freaks who would run it. For now though, it's sitting in D tier. It's called Nightcore, and you put an anime girl on the thumbnail. Mega Absol takes a glass cannon of a dark type that was super edgy and makes it a slightly better glass cannon of a dark type that's even more edgy. 150 attack, 115 special attack, and 115 speed? Sign me up. Wait, nope, it can't hold a Focus Sash. Yeah, no, this guy just consistently got outsped by Tapu Koko and couldn't do a single thing about it. Its main draw is the fact that it can Sucker Punch pretty hard, but when there's a whole Tapu out there that also just blocks that, I don't know. Great, you know? I mean, it can Magic Bounce, which is kind of cool, so you can't burn or paralyze this guy, and it can even bounce back Stealth Rocks. But in VGC, Stealth Rocks don't really exist, and you could just U-turn on Mega Absol to send them right back to the Shadow Realm. Glad I kept my receipt, so I can return this guy to Kmart. Wait, what do you mean Kmart doesn't exist anymore? I'm just stuck with this guy? Alright, well at least I can return my Mega Ampharos to Radio Shack, right? Mega Beedrill stat spread was designed by the #1 Beedrill fan on Earth. Mega Beedrill stat spread was designed by the #1 Beedrill fan on Earth, and you cannot convince me otherwise. This is my OC. He has 150 attack and 145 speed. Nothing else though. He's the best bug type. He can U-turn better than anyone else. Mega Beedrill is why fans shouldn't be allowed to design stat spreads. You can make the most Deoxys attack looking stat spread of any Pokemon and it'll still get no usage. Nothing. You get nothing. We had a whole week on BGC Twitter where all we talked about was Potential Mon, and that Potential Mon was Mega Beedrill. It was the butt of a joke for like a week. Okay, I'm really glad that Mega Beedrill segment was a pretty decent laugh because I actually have strong feelings about that Pokemon. I just can't really say the same about Mega Houndoom. I genuinely just want to say that it's bad and move on, but I have to at least explain a little bit. Look at these stats. Yes, it's fast and it hits hard, but Solar Power giving it a boost doesn't seem quite as good when you could just cut to the chase and run Mega Charizard Y like a normal person. It's literally just trying too hard and something else does its job much better. That's all there really is to say about this guy. What do you mean this is the second highest attack stat in the game? Whose idea was this and why is Mega Heracross still bad? Like, yeah, 185 is pretty insane, but it kind of makes sense when you realize that they took away its best tool in its ability Guts, which grants it a 50% boost in its attack stat as long as it's statused. That being said, the fact that this thing is low to mid tier and has 185 as its base attack, a passable speed tier, and even above average bulk just goes to show how much it sucks to be a bug type that can't hold an item. And why Skill Link is the ability? No one's clicking Arm Thrust, dude. Pin Missile's kind of cool, you know, they kind of cooked there. This guy has exactly one top 8 finish on a rain team, and something tells me that Heracross wasn't carrying that day. Okay, is Mega Blastoise good? Kinda. Not really, but it's like right there. Like, we can stop calling things actively bad at this point in the video. Mega Blastoise does have some pretty great stats with okay bulk, great speed, and an actually very solid 135 base special attack stat. It's also still got access to all the typical Blastoise tools. I mean, Fake Out's good, it's got ice coverage, and of course Water Spout. Here's the thing though, while I do think that Mega Launcher was the right call for an ability since, well, this thing is Blastoise, it has a giant mega-sized launcher on its back, Mega Launcher, in theory, is an awesome ability that boosts the power of Pulse and Sphere moves. However, the strongest water move that's boosted by this is Water Pulse, and the only Pokemon who get this ability are Mega Blastoise and Clawitzer, and the shrimp did not fry this rice. There's a reason everyone ran Water Spout. Mega Blastoise practically didn't have an ability in doubles, and its finishes are all despite that. But Mr. Boosted, Mega Sableye was banned to Ubers. Why is it D tier on your list? You switch in on Tapu Lele Moonblast and tell me how well he tanks it. Mega Sableye is yet another defensive Mega, but at least this one was built in a way that kind of makes sense. Mega Steelix, they just tried to make it hit hard, and it didn't do many favors for it. Mega Sableye, on the other hand, they just full committed to making this thing annoying. Magic Bounce means that it can't be taunted or statused. Mega Sableye wouldn't be that bad today, but in doubles, Fluttermane would knock it out in 2 turns and pawn off that gem at the nearest store. It literally only has one weakness in fairy moves, and it's got access to Fake Out, Recover, and Knock Off. This thing was built to raise blood pressures and do nothing else. Busted in singles, but just kind of annoying in doubles. No finishes to speak of on Limitless, but that's definitely not for lack of people trying. Trust me, I know, because I was people. Oh my god, we made it to C tier. I know it's only been a few minutes on your guys' end, but due to my lack of focus and general bad work ethic, it's been 3 full days over here. Mega Camerupt is about as C tier as a Pokemon can get. It was basically Torkoal before Torkoal got access to Drought. So, Torkoal before it was good. Like, I know Fire Ground is a pretty garbage defensive typing, but you need to keep in mind that this thing was a hard Trick Room Pokemon with great bulk and 145 special attack. On top of all that, it got the ability Sheer Force, which boosts the power of Heat Wave to 123 and Earth Power to 117. I don't care what anyone says, this thing hit hard. And it's even one of the few Pokemon that gave people the reason to run Staraptor competitively. That should be enough of a reason to convince you guys that it belongs in C tier. Too bad Torkoal makes it virtually useless today, so I don't really see this thing ever climbing out of here. Mega Sceptile is actually pretty funny because it's only ever good in restricted formats where legendary Pokemon exist. The long and short of it is Mega Sceptile is a fast, powerful special attacker that gains a partial dragon typing for some reason and has the ability Lightning Rod as an ability. Legitimately sounds like they just put a bunch of ideas in a hat and these are the first few they pulled out of it. But it works for some reason. So why is a thing with these stats even good in competitive restricted formats? 2 words, Grass Knot. Sceptile's best option in restricted Pokemon was the move Grass Knot, which increases in power the heavier the target is. And with behemoths like Groudon and Kyogre running around in 2016, Mega Sceptile always had a target to trip. Off of that 145 base special attack stat, if it got a boost from Lightning Rod at any point in the match, you're looking at a possible one-shot into the opponent's Groudon or Kyogre. And it even does really respectable damage to Xerneas with it being a 2-hit KO before any boosts. It's just a very solid pick overall in these formats, albeit kind of a niche one. Rock Slide, Tailwind, 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 Rock Slide. The stats on Mega Alakazam are unironically the only reason it's this high on the list. Like I can't look at 150 speed and 175 special attack and act like we're not looking at a beast. The results this thing has achieved are telling me it should probably be lower in the rankings. He's C tier via aura and D tier via results. I'm not going to speak on it any more than that. Someone at Game Freak had the great idea to remove Mega Aggron's detrimental rock typing, and it might be the only reason it's not lower on this list. 70 HP and 230 defense wouldn't go nearly as hard if it was 4 times weak to ground and fighting moves. Pure Steel, incredible bulk, and solid 140 base attack, and even the ability Filter to cut the damage from super effective attacks. Of course this thing's gonna be good, and no results. Really? Like, not even a result from a Xerneas meta? That's crazy. Body Press gonna go triple platinum on this guy though. Oh my god, this one's actually got results. What do you mean I can't just crack jokes and move on? Ugh, I hate it here. Mega Venusaur has 2 jobs, being big-backed and sitting on the field. Like, Mega Venusaur did exist on Sun Team, so it could play in its base form for Chlorophyll boosts, but we're talking about the Mega specifically, so its best results were on double Intimidate teams, so it could Leech Seed and wall out everything. This thing had absurd bulk, a great defensive typing, and the ability Thick Fat, which removed its fire and ice weaknesses, meaning Mega Venusaur was only weak to flying and psychic type attacks. Put me in a match against Mega Venusaur, Tapu Fini, Incineroar, and Porygon 2 and watch me forfeit in real time just to save me the afternoon. I've got more matches to lose today, buddy. You're not that important to me. Still though, Mega Venusaur was pretty niche, all things considered. Mega Lopunny is kind of funny because it simply took a Pokemon that couldn't do anything and made it into a Pokemon that does one thing really, really good. Behold, the best Faker Outerer in the game. Mega Lopunny has an incredible 135 speed stat, good bulk, and 136 attack alongside the ability Scrappy, which lets its normal and fighting type attacks hit ghost Pokemon, which is important as Lopunny was already a normal type but now becomes a fighting type with its Mega form. Lopunny was not only able to fake out the likes of Gengar and Sableye, but it could even hit Mega Sableye for super effective fighting type damage. Only thing is, as a fighting type, its best attack was High Jump Kick, and we all know what can go wrong on that front. Mega Lopunny has a solid list of results behind it, but it's really nothing special all things considered. It's C tier, but definitely towards the top of the list. It's Garchomp, but worse because it's slow. Moving on.
Thank goodness. How long is this video?
Mega Pinsir has literally no results on Limitless, so let me just kind of sell you on the concept here because it's not actually that bad. Is it lacking results because it's bad? No. Well, not entirely. People typically would say that Pinsir and Heracross are competing, as in the games they're kind of counterparts, but in reality, Mega Pinsir is directly competing with Mega Salamence, a Pokemon we'll see much later in this video. I mean, we're still in C tier. With 155 attack, 105 speed, solid bulk, and even access to Aerialate to turn normal moves into flying type moves, it's definitely worth trying out. But when we have a Mega that does everything Pinsir does but better, there's just no reason to continue using it once the novelty wears off. I mean, a single Rock Slide ends Mega Pinsir's whole career. That's pretty limited mileage. Into B tier. Okay, Mega Medicham may only have 3 results and 2 of them are from the same dude named Graham Amity, who got 2nd at NAIC and 18th at Worlds. But we kind of have to start respecting it at that point, right? 18th at Worlds is nothing to scoff at. Typically, the ability Pure Power, which doubles the user's attack stat, is reserved for Pokemon with low base attack stats to make them artificially hit like a truck. Mega Medicham asks the question, what if that Pokemon already had a good attack stat? Not only does Mega Medicham hit like a ballistic missile, but it's even got access to some solid support moves like Fake Out and Feint. But it's severely held back by the fact that it's only got 100 base speed and has to either click Zen Headbutt or, God forbid, miss a High Jump Kick. That move just doesn't give you nearly as much mileage in a metagame where you can protect on it. I'm sorry. Dude, of course Mega Swampert is kind of good. You can't just crossbreed a competitive swimmer and a powerlifter and expect not to have a beast on your hands. Like, what if we gave a starter Pokemon a diet consisting entirely of creatine and grasshoppers for protein? Thanks for asking, Junichi Masuda. Let's find out. Wow, that's a lot of results. Notice how it's only ever run on rain teams. This is a subtle reference to the fact that they gave a ground water type with 150 attack the ability Swift Swim. Good luck switching in on it, Incineroar. Oh look, I mentioned Incineroar, you can comment it now. Wait, actually I already mentioned Incineroar in the Venusaur section, but you know, minor details. I'll take the engagement bait comments. In short, Mega Swampert sort of speaks for itself. It hits hard, it likes rain, and it hates grass-type Pokemon. It's a good Mega, it's just not incredible. Behold, megapokemon.png. He was literally the tutorial. He came free with the game, of course it's good. Like, Mega Lucario is the archetypal Mega Pokemon. It looks cool, it hits hard, and by that standard though, Dave Bautista is also a Mega Pokemon, so we'll workshop the definition. Lucario actually does have numerous top 8 results in major tournaments. It's got incredible mixed attacker stats and the moveset to back them up, with it having not only close combat but also Aura Sphere, and not only Meteor Mash but also Flash Cannon. It's even got 112 base speed, so it's faster than a lot of Pokemon, and it has the ability Adaptability, meaning those close combats and bullet punches hit a lot harder. You really can't go wrong with this thing. It's probably the most B-tier Mega I can think of. They're the Lottie twins, but with better stats. Do they have better placements? No, but I felt wrong putting them any lower than this. Moving on. It's Scizor, but with better stats. Moving on again. Mega Blaziken is just Blaziken but with better stats, and while normally I would move on and use this as an excuse to be lazy with the script writing process, it's worth discussing just a little bit. Firefighting has always been a great offensive typing, and the fact that this thing comes with Speed Boost, a 160 base attack stat, Flare Blitz, High Jump Kick, and even Swords Dance for some reason means that it was bound to be a great Pokemon. It was notoriously ran next to Bisharp, as this duo of Pokemon were able to deal with annoying Fairy types and Psychic types that Blaziken didn't want to have to play against, along with the fact that Bisharp would get a boost from its ability to find against any Pokemon that would try to intimidate the Blaziken. The fact that Mega Blaziken could be ran next to King Gambit in Pokemon Champions and has access to close combat now is frankly cause for concern, but we'll see. Still B tier. Mega Manectric is the thinking man's Mega. It's the Rick and Morty of Mega Pokemon. You need a pretty high IQ to understand it, you know? Yes, it has a really good special attack stat and speed, but trust me, that special attack stat is the least important thing on this Pokemon. Mega Manectric was known for its ability to intimidate and pivot around games next to Incineroar, while also lowering the opponent's special attack stats by using Snarl and Eerie Impulse. It even ran Rain Dance to boost partner Tapu Finney's Water-type Z moves, and the fact that this thing had Lightning Rod as its ability before it Mega'd means that you could actually use base Manectric before Mega Evolving to protect Tapu Fini from electric moves, while boosting Manectric's special attack stat with the electric moves that would be redirected into it. Mega Manectric is the perfect balance of being a support Mega while remaining an offensive threat, because that Volt Switch still hit Charizard Y like a truck. And just look at the top 8 finishes this thing has under its belt, it really does just speak for itself. Mega Gyarados is built off of Gyarados as a base, so obviously it's going to be pretty good, and the fact that it switches from being a water flying type to a water dark type means that it becomes even more powerful. As far as I'm concerned, Mega Gyarados is purely a stat monster. It doesn't really do anything super special besides clicking a couple of Dragon Dances and running away with the game. That bulk, speed, and attack is just begging to be set up with, and the results back it up. I guess Earthquaking Levitate Mons with Mold Breaker is kind of cool too, but besides that, like I said, nothing special, just a setup stat monster. Okay, Mega Charizard X, the nepotism Pokemon. What if we just do what Gyarados did by making it a stat monster that loses a flying type for a better defensive type and really just likes to click Dragon Dance? Well, you get this guy, and it won tournaments. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm getting really burnt out in the script writing process. We got like 6 Pokemon left to rank, just let me be lazy here. Something, Tough Claws, Flare Blitz, here's a cat video. Pretend it's an in-depth Charizard X discussion. Into A tier, we have Mega Mawile. Now, Mega Mawile had the biggest glow up of any Pokemon, going from generic Hoenmon number 67 to top 3 Mega in its heyday. Steel Fairy type with huge power was literally a blueprint for Zacian to absolutely demolish everything in its path in Generation 8. Like, what do you mean this thing also had access to Swords Dance and Sucker Punch? In what reality is that remotely fair? Sucker Punch from Mega Mawile does like 50% to Primal Kyogre completely unboosted, like no setup or nothing. And the fact that this thing has Hypercutter before Mega Evolving means that it can strategically dodge Intimidates. So why isn't it S tier when it's built like this? Well, to be honest, it just has like a really low skill ceiling and really high skill floor. It's super easy to pick up and use, but at higher levels of play, it doesn't give you the same level of utility as the others. It's just a big stick, but to be honest, sometimes all you really need to do is whack things with a big stick. It's just Tyranitar with more stats, and it basically has a bring back sand button when it Mega Evolves. You can just set up Excadrill like Mr. Burns releasing the hounds. Moving on. Mega Gardevoir is kind of a beast. Oh god, wait, I just realized I missed Mega Gallade. I'm sorry, throw it in D tier, it's okay, it's just kind of not very special. It's like a psychic fighting type and you get more out of Medicham. Alright, I just remembered Mega Gallade. Okay, Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir is kind of a beast. Its stats are super lopsided, with it basically having no physical attack stats to speak of, but a solid base 100 speed, a great 165 special attack stat, and 135 special defense stat. Along with that, it gets access to Pixelate, meaning that this thing either wants to blow everything up with Fairy-type Hyper Voice, or click Calm Mind and set up to blow things up with Fairy-type Hyper Voice later. In a way, Mega Gardevoir is just Big Sylveon. It's really good at its job too, with it having tons of top 8 finishes in the 2018 season. Okay, genuinely this one kind of speaks for itself, but I should explain it anyways. Drought is a very good ability. Setting up the sun for itself, Charizard Y can take full advantage of that massive 159 base special attack stat. This thing was basically the original Chi-Yu. Good luck switching it on Overheat or Heat Wave. And with Sun active, it didn't really need to worry about its water type weaknesses, and it could even be flanked by Chlorophyll users like Venusaur to threaten Sleep Powders on faster Pokemon. Also, it's got access to Tailwind, can't go wrong with that. Really, the only thing keeping Mega Charizard Y from being outright broken is the fact that a single Rock Slide would put it into a coma, and 100 base speed leaves it slower than a large amount of other relevant Mega Pokemon. Mega Charizard Y is obviously very powerful and has had more regional top 8s than I'd care to list in this video, and frankly, the fact that it's not S tier just goes to show how busted everything above this thing is. Use it as a benchmark. Before we make it into S tier, I need to discuss the various legendary and mythical Mega Pokemon that just aren't fair to rank on a tier list consisting of mostly normal Mega Pokemon. Like, these would all be S tier, they're all just broken, but we can at least talk about them in some capacity. Everyone, the Agency Mega Pokemon Analysis, brought to you by Blunder.
Hello all, it's me, Blunder, Pokemon Master, definitely not being held here against my will or anything. Anyways, let's talk about some of these legendary Pokemon. Alright, so first let's talk about Mega Rayquaza. So this Pokemon was so strong that it ended up creating its own tier above Ubers called Anything Goes. The majority of people would say that this is the strongest Pokemon ever invented, and I definitely would agree with them. This thing has its signature move, Dragon Ascent, which is a very incredibly strong move. Has priority in the form of extreme speed, awesome setup options like Swords Dance and Dragon Dance. This thing was too strong for any format. They had to give it its own thing, and to this day, this is the strongest Pokemon of all time. Next up, we have Mega Diancie. Mega Diancie was very good in both Generation 6 and 7 in OU. It had Magic Bounce, which was only shared by Sableye as the other Mega with it. Awesome special attack stat on this Pokemon, good speed as well. And even though Rock Fairy is not the best defensively, it's very good offensively, and because of Magic Bounce, you know, you're still able to check a lot of annoying steel types, Ferrothorn, Heatran Pokemon that would set up hazards. Magic Bounce put a stop to that, so this was really one of the best Pokemon. Had great coverage too, Earth Power, Hidden Power back in these generations, one of the best. Alright, next up we have somewhat of a forgotten duo. Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y. So Mewtwo, already one of the strongest Pokemon of all time, and getting not one but two Megas was absolutely crazy. Mega Mewtwo X was really the cooler of the two if you ask me, because it gained a fighting type, and I'll always take a dual typing over a single typing. However, even with that dual typing, Mega Mewtwo X was honestly a niche pick. Mega Mewtwo Y was a lot more dominant. Mega Mewtwo X had to rely on the physical sets, which is like Low Kick, Ice Punch, Stone Edge, and it would honestly struggle against ghost types more often than not. Meanwhile, Mega Mewtwo Y got to make use of Mewtwo's superior special move pool, so Ice Beam, Psy Strike, Fire Blast, you get the idea. It was just a lot easier to make progress with Mega Mewtwo Y. Despite this, these were two amazing Pokemon in Ubers, but Mega Mewtwo Y was definitely the more dominant of the two, and you would see it a lot more in competitive play.
Oh my god, we're almost done and I can go to bed. Mega Metagross. Yeah, dude, one of the pseudo legendaries is obviously going to have a broken Mega form. Mega Metagross took Metagross's already impressive stats and just cranked them all the way up. There's no good reason a Pokemon with 145 attack, 150 defense, 110 special defense, and a busted offensive and defensive typing, frankly, and the ability Tough Claws should be 110 speed. There's no reason for it to have all of that. It's head and shoulders above the 100 speed tier that's used to gatekeep Pokemon from being broken. Mega Metagross was an absurd Pokemon in basically every format that it was allowed in, and the fact that before Mega Evolving it had the ability Clear Body meant that even on lead against Incineroar, it didn't need to worry about Intimidate. You could not lead Intimidate Incineroar against this guy and have the Intimidate go off. You would need to bring it in later. Mega Metagross's Zen Headbutts hit ridiculously hard when paired with Tapu Lele's Psychic Terrain, and its Meteor Mashes and Iron Heads off of the Tough Claws ability made it a Tapu Hunter in the Gen 7 formats. And the fact that it got access to Stomping Tantrum meant that it even had counterplay to Fire types that should hypothetically beat it. Oh, and it even has Ice Punch, so it can one-shot the Landorus Therians that it was able to outspeed for some reason. The fact that this Pokemon actually exists actively makes me mad. Like, why would they build this thing? Why would they make it this way? And it's just going to be buffed in Champions since Mega Metagross now has access to Psychic Things and Heavy Slam. Yeah, dude, it's S tier. Game Freak asked, what if the Perish Song user was also the Perish Trapper? I mean, this thing's a world champion for a reason. You can't just take a Ghost Poison type and give it a good speed stat and a frankly stupid special attack stat, then on top of all of that, give it an ability that doesn't allow the opponent to switch out on it. I got no clue what they were thinking here. And the fact that this thing won the World Championships in a restricted format year goes to show just how strong it is. Of course, not being able to switch out Primal Groudon against Primal Kyogre is going to mean the matchup into the Weather War is a lot easier. And it's not even just that it's an offensive monster, but on the support end of things, it was also a menace. Like, why give an unfake-outable Ghost type that traps you in Encore and Disable? That's just mean. I hate you, Mega Gengar. I hate you. Look, it's the character we met at the beginning of the story here at the end. I used a literary device known as foreshadowing. This is yet another Mega Pokemon that actively just makes me sad. You know, Mega Metagross made me mad because it had great bulk offensive stats and speed, right? Well, what if we did it again, but before you Mega Evolve, it also has the ability Intimidate. Oh, and the opponent needs to guess if you're a special attacker, physical attacker, or God forbid both. Mega Salamence was part of Big Six, a team archetype so busted Mr. Wolf E VGC has an hour-long video discussing it. The fact that this thing could be a utility Pokemon with Tailwind and Intimidate, then pivot entirely to just chunking restricted legendaries with Aerialate Double Edge, was truly a sign that this thing was just a bit overtuned. And could it be one-shot by Ice Beam? Yes. But what relevant Pokemon was going to do that? Primal Kyogre? Brother, you are the target of the Double Edge in question. Yeah, man, let me just focus my resources on this stupid dragon while their Kyogre gets to click buttons. Mega Salamence was broken. Of course, I'm going to cap off this video with Mega Kangaskhan. It's actually incredible how Game Freak took such an unnotable normal type from Gen 1 and made it the face of competitive for a generation. Its stats across the board don't ever exceed that 125 in its attack, but they really didn't need to. Mega Kangaskhan just kind of did it all. It could fake out, it could chunk things with Double Edge, it could Sucker Punch for priority, and it did all of this twice per turn because of its ability Parental Bond. Parental Bond in Gen 6 let Mega Kangaskhan hit for 50% more damage by having the attack be followed up with a baby version of it, meaning that Double Edge wasn't just 120 base power, but it was effectively 180. And even funnier, this was in the gen that they gave Kangaskhan access to the move Power Up Punch, a weak fighting type attack that would hit for very little damage but raise the user's attack stat by 1 stage every time it was used, or in Mega Kangaskhan's case, 2 stages due to its ability Parental Bond. Effectively, Mega Kangaskhan had an offensive fighting type sword stance that allowed it to immediately start one-shotting Pokemon with Double Edge or Return and punish passive plays by simply just clicking Power Up Punch into literally anything. Mega Kangaskhan, even before evolving, had a wide variety of abilities that it could use to counterplay things. Scrappy meant that you could fake out into other ghost types. Inner Focus meant that other Kangaskhan couldn't fake you out. It was kind of crazy. And you know, in Champions, these abilities also got buffed to prevent Intimidate, so we have to play with that now. Mega Kangaskhan was the face of the Chalk Core in 2015, consisting of Cresselia, Heatran, Amoonguss, Landorus, and Mega Kangaskhan itself. And it even found a spot on that Big Six team next to Mega Salamence that dominated the restricted VGC 2016 format. No shot Mega Kang wasn't going to be at the top of this list. With that, I can wrap up the tier list by just recapping everything that we've gone over so far. And I just realized, man, like I really hate writing videos this long, but it was fun. It was fun. In F tier, we have Mega Audino, Mega Pidgeot, Mega Banette, Mega Glalie, and Mega Ampharos. In D tier, we have Mega Altaria, Mega Sharpedo, Mega Steelix, Mega Slowbro, Mega Abomasnow, Mega Absol, Mega Gallade, Mega Beedrill, Mega Houndoom, Mega Heracross, Mega Blastoise, and Mega Sableye. In C tier, we have Mega Camerupt, Mega Sceptile, Mega Aerodactyl, Mega Alakazam, Mega Aggron, Mega Venusaur, Mega Lopunny, Mega Garchomp, and Mega Pinsir. In B tier, we have Mega Medicham, Mega Swampert, Mega Lucario, the Mega Lottie Twins, Mega Scizor, Mega Blaziken, Mega Manectric, Mega Gyarados, and Mega Charizard. In A tier, we have Mega Mawile, Mega Tyranitar, Mega Gardevoir, and Mega Charizard Y. And in S tier, we have Mega Metagross, Mega Gengar, Mega Salamence, and Mega Kangaskhan. Where did the Mega Restricted Legendaries go? They're all at the top of S tier, but there's not really a reason to rank them fairly against everything else, because, you know, why am I ranking a Beedrill against a Rayquaza? It just doesn't make sense. I'm really tired. It's like midnight here. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check out my Patreon, it mean the world to me. You can check out the supporter content by becoming a YouTube member or being a Patreon. I have like a Discord. You guys can also see your name at the end of all my videos, like all these other people, like Avatar67 and Club, who are my most generous supporters. If you want to check out the second channel, that's going to be linked down below. I do like battles there, and I live stream every Monday through Friday at like 6 p.m. CST. I'm really tired. Good night, everybody.